Welcome to another edition of 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse. And I'm not even going to show that thing above me because I've just hit basically rock bottom with a bunch of shit going on here. My back is all messed up. I have trouble walking. There's a bunch of shit going on, but anyway, it's a road story episode, and it might take a little while to get there because it's twisting and turning. The other thing is, with Grindhouse Resurrection, yes, the 4th issue is being printed as we speak. Initially, I'm only going to have 100 copies for sale because I don't have the money. And it's going to run $20 shipped. It's $15 an issue because it's 144 something pages. And shipping is going to be $5 because that's what it is. So if I sell the first 100, I'll reprint some more, but right about now, that's all I can do. So anyway, anybody remember Cabbage Patch Kids? Remember that whole weird-ass scenario with those ugly fucking dolls that people were basically beating the shit out of each other to get to and then reselling them for ridiculous amounts of money? Well, that's part of our story because I've spoken about this guy, Dave Payne. And Dave was working out of a place called Placid Lake Salvage in Rochelle Park, New Jersey, and that was owned by John Horner. And I always wanted to meet John because, you know, in the world of hustling and dealing, you never know whether you're getting the real right price. Not that I didn't think Dave was giving me the right price, but, you know, I always wanted to make sure. So eventually I got to meet John in Rochelle Park, and John was a World War II Marine who was one of the first guys into occupied Japan, and he had that going for him. Most of the guys involved in Placid Lake Salvage, including Dave, were ex-Marines that fought in World War II. So I only went to Rochelle Park for a while because there's another story where Dave really fucked something up, and the feds showed up, and there was a raid. And John decided to move the headquarters down to Hackensack, right on the river, in this building where basically there was a huge warehouse, there was an auto repair shop, and there was an office upstairs. So I went in one day and he goes, "Can you sell Cabbage Patch Kids?" And I said, "Yeah, probably to my wife because she collects dolls and she really wants some." Well, he had 6 in a case. Problem was, if you remember the size of the boxes that they were in, there were no boxes involved in this, nor were there birth certificates. I guess they were shipped separately. So he had a case of 6 Cabbage Patch dolls. Some were white, some were black. Of course, the whole selling point was the damn birth certificate. So I had grabbed them. I had sold, you know, a couple. My wife, of course, grabbed a few of each because she collected, which wasn't a bad thing for her. And it wasn't a big whoop for me. I was down English Town, and somebody across from me put a doll up and yelled, "Who give me $50 for this doll?" I said, "I will." I ran over and gave him $50 for it. Then put it on in the open door of my truck. Well, somebody else saw it and says, "What are you selling that for?" I said, "Not sure I want to sell it." And he goes, "What if I'll give you $150 for it?" "It's yours." So anyway, back to John in the warehouse. Well, I'm sitting there because I was like their mascot for a while. I mean, you got to remember, these guys were all WW2 vets, and I was born in 1952. So I was amusing to them for a lot of reasons. They showed me how to make coffee with, you know, using condensed milk and shit, a percolator on a space heater. So anyway, John's standing there making a deal with the guy for Cabbage Patch Kids clothing, a dozen to a box. So he makes the deal. I'm sitting there. I overheard every word of it. And he goes, "Yeah, I got 100 dozen of these Cabbage Patch things coming in." I said, "No, you don't." He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "You bought way more than 100 dozen. He goes, "Don't fucking tell me what I just bought." And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, fine, fine. I don't know nothing." I found out early on, when John gets in a mood, don't fucking argue with him. So anyway, couple days go by and I get a phone call from John. He goes, "I need you to come down here. I need you to see something." So I go down there. The fucking warehouse is stacked with these things. Now these cases were only about this thick because the things were like laid out, you know, the doll clothes are laid out on cardboards. They were stacked at least 8 feet high. And I forget the exact amount that there was, but there was a shitload of them. And the fucked up part was that I had space on one side of the warehouse. I had this set of shelves that he used to let me keep shit on. And now to get to these fucking things that I needed, I would have to climb a ladder and basically body surf my way over these cases because you couldn't walk over them because you'd slide down and kill yourself. So he goes, you got to help me out with this. And I said, all right. I said, dude, I don't want to take these to a flea market because I've already seen these women and kids go nuts over this shit, rip everything apart. And I said, no. I said, give me the bottom price and let me try to wholesale them out. So I don't know what the bottom price was. Let me say it was $3 a dozen. I went out and tried to sell them for $5 a dozen, and I moved the whole shitload of them. But like I said, I didn't want to individually fuck with these things because, number one, I'm doing a lot of, adult-oriented items and, other things, and I don't need kids around my table and somebody pulls out a fucking tape and goes ape shit over it. So I tried to help them out and wholesale, a bunch of stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, John was a good guy. You just had to, watch his moods, and when you got in an argument with him, walk away because you wouldn't win the argument. What happened with John was, they moved again. I forgot there was a whole big rigmarole, and actually the people that were running the repair shop were also making cars go bye-bye for insurance purposes. They were basically launching them off a ramp into the Hackensack River. So yeah, that was going on down there too. Yeah, there was a lot of people doing fucked up shit back in the day because, some cars that were sold were complete fucking lemons, and they basically, you would slip a guy a couple $100, the registration and the keys, and 2 days later you'd meet him and get them back, and then you report the car stolen. That's the way it worked back then. Crooked as all hell, but then, insurance companies, what do you want to do? So anyway, sad part about this was I was still dealing with John. They had moved down into Hackensack. They had a whole bunch of fucking garages down there. And I went down one day, and Dave was there, and I go, where's John? And he goes, John died. I go, what happened? He goes, we just made this really great deal, and he was really happy, and he went home. And he goes, we didn't hear from him for 2 days. So we went over there, and we found him dead at his kitchen table with a fucking pack of Marlboros in his hand. John was smoking 3 packs of Marlboro Reds a day, and he probably had a massive heart attack. So that's what happened with John. John was a good guy. We did a lot of business. We had a lot of run-ins too. So it all goes with the territory. So that's our show for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. We will catch you Monday with some monster kids on the flip side. So until then, stay safe.